Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sugar Melts. I'm Lori, and I've got a new box to show you today. You may remember this video where we did this box a while back, and Michelle reached out and said, hey, can you do a square box? Well, of course we can do a square box, can't we? So what it's going to look like, this is a template I designed, so you can see kind of where you're going with this plan. This will be the middle of the box. This will be the bottom of the box, and this will be the top of the box. So this panel down here is going to get cut off, which seems counterintuitive that it's a square box and we're only using 3 sides, but that's top, middle, and the bottom, and then the 4 sides, and this will be the little flap that will tape down to secure it. Once you're comfortable, or if you can look at this and say, I got it, Lori, I know where we're going with this, you'll feel free to cut this panel off, even at the beginning if you want, just to have that paper aside so you don't have score lines through it. But if this is your first time doing it and you just really want to follow each step along the way, just know that for now this panel will be cut off, but in the future when you're more comfortable with it, just be sure to cut that off first so you don't have your score lines. What this box is going to look like when we're done today, here's a sample. How cute is that? Little square box. We got the lid and the flap that holds it down in there to secure it. There we go. There's a couple ways to make this box. Let me see if this is the other example. The other way that we can do it is with not just this side being taped down, but both sides there, so you've only got the one top flap. So either way, I'll show you how to do both of them today. You can see how super cute these boxes turn out. A little ribbon, a little bow, some kind of embellishment on this, and this is going to be such a great little way to personalize your gifts to folks. And what a great way to use up paper that you may like a lot, but it's not your style, or you've got one sheet left, or there's not enough for a big project, what to do with it. These are great ways to use up this paper. So I've had this paper for a while now. I love it. It's just not the way I make cards. So what to do with it? We're gonna make a box. Okay, get your scoreboard out. Here we go. If you're using a paper that's on a thinner side, be sure to use a thicker stylus that won't put a hole through it. If you're using a thicker paper, more like cardstock, you can use a thinner stylus. Be real careful with these ones that have the points on them, because they can sometimes go through the paper and actually create a hole in it. So you don't want to do that. So this paper is actually pretty thick. I'll go ahead and use a smaller stylus here, probably this end. I always do my first 1/2 inch at this end here. Sorry if my head's in the way. Oops, I want to do this way though, because I want this to be on the outside or the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and score this way. So the inside pattern goes is what you score into. You don't have to. If it's an accident, you can fold it back, but it does make it easier when you go to fold. But, you know, like I do, oh well, just flip it over, no big deal. Each of these columns, once we take off that 1/2 inch, so that's why it can't be an even 3, because we need a little bit to secure it together. So these will be 2 7/8. When you divide that all the way across, you'll be scoring at 2 7/8, then 5 3/4, and then 8 5/8. So you'll just be going in 1/8 of an inch each time. So 2 7/8. And then 5 3/4, 8 5/8. Perfect. And then we just turn the paper and we do the same thing this way. So I go out to my 1/2 inch, and then 2 7/8, 5 3/4, 8 5/8. And again, be careful just so you don't go through the paper. Okay, that out of the way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and whack off that bottom panel. So you've got your 1/2 inch up here and your 1/2 inch over here. You want to knock off this part here, okay? It's really important that you get that score line right underneath the blade. You want it to be as exact as possible, okay? So let me get that right there. And we're good. Okay, set that aside. So now we can go ahead and you can either fold now or we can cut the boxes up. I'll go ahead and fold first just so you have a better sense of where we're cutting in a minute. Okay, so we got that one. And then this is pretty thick paper that I've got here. Oh my goodness, this is going to make a nice box. And then I've got this one more fold here. There it is. There it is. Whew. I'm usually haven't had to go back over it with my bone folder, but this paper is thicker than my others. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tighten that up a little bit. If you're using thinner paper, like I actually did for most of my boxes here, it really wasn't necessary, but I think I'll be happier working with this paper if it's pretty tight. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and fold on this one. 2 more folds, almost done. There it is. Okay. So here's the template again. And this is the box. Okay? So where this is going, just so you can kind of see, let me use this box over here as an example. So this component right here, this box right here, this is actually going to be the lid. This is the center of the box. And these flaps are going to be folded together to create the bottom. So that's where we're going. Okay? So now we want to do a little bit of cutting. We're going to cut these 4 flaps because they're going to come in on each other and glue and tape together. So let's separate all of these. There's 1. 2. Almost done. 3. Now you've got the 1/2 inch here. We're going to go ahead and cut that off. We're not going to need that. We only need it for the body of the box. The rest of it isn't going to be needed. Cut that off. And then we can go ahead and cut it off here at the top. And then we want to cut these 4 and separate them. I'm going to use the bigger scissors so I can get right on in there. Go. Cut this one. Are you just looking at my head at this point? Sorry about that. You may just be seeing my head. I don't know. Okay. There we go. So we've got all 4 of these separated. So what are we looking at here? So as I said, I like to use this one for the top because on the box you have these 2 flaps if you want to do the flaps. So they can either be these 2 or these 2. It doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter. Whichever 2 you use for the flaps, one or the other one has to be the lid and the other one we're going to cut down. So let me show you first how we're going to do, how you would do flaps. And then I'm going to cut it all down and make it like the other ones where they all are in half. So just take this one and cut it in half. Get that out of the way there. You don't want to cut through. And you can certainly score it and make it exact if you want. I just, I've been kind of eyeballing it. Okay, so we've got those 2. Now this one, you're really going to cut low because you're just going to tear and tape it down. There we go. So when you've got these 2 flaps, so these 2 here are your flaps for your box. if you want to keep the flax. At this point, this is where I use my corner. You don't have to do a corner edging, but I just think it looks so much better. Oops, that got a little, that doesn't look better. That's better. I have this strange corner. It's got this corner tool. It's got a very long arm to it, so it's not the best for these projects where you've got so much paper. It kind of there we go. Be a little tricky for me to get the corner in there, so I always do the corner before I start cutting paper, before I start securing the paper down. I mean, so get it in there. There we go. I also like to do a corner on the lid. It just makes it a little bit easier when you're tucking those corners in. When you go to close your box. So let's, come on. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So does that make sense how we're going to do this? So this is going to be secured to here. I'm going to secure this down. And then these two are your flaps. You're basically done with your lid. If you want to not have the flaps, we'll go ahead and do it that way. Since this is done the way it is, you could leave that. I'm going to go ahead and trim this down again, though, for those of you who don't want the flaps, so you can see how to tape that down. There we go. Okay, so at this point, we are ready to tape our box together. I break out all my tear and tape, and I have a lot. What I'm going to do is first do, we'll do the side, and then the bottom, and then we can do these three. But I like to get all my tear and tape in place first. So I'll show you how that looks. Now to get this bottom together, see how this kind of folds together here? We're going to do like that. And there's your box. Isn't that great? So the way I tape this, since this is, we'll be looking at this inside the box, I put the tape on the underside, and then these three have the tape on the outside. You'll see in a minute. You just get a big old wad of tape off of here. Put some tape there. I put two on the panel that's going to be on the most bottom. So this piece will has two on the other side because I want that one to be really secure. And then I put a piece here. There. And then on this one, it goes there. Okay, so now we're going to put tape on these other four little tabs. And I use a really thin, this is probably 1/4 inch. Okay. There's a nice big old piece there. Okay. Take off my first tab. I'm going to put it there. Another piece. And that goes right there. And then my third piece goes there. And then this actually goes on this side. And I probably want a little bit more than what was left there, just so it doesn't get loose at all. There. So we're ready to seal, okay? So the first thing we can do is we can just pop these down and get this over with. So be careful when you're peeling your tear and tape. You know how this goes. You don't want to actually pull the tape up. Just kind of scrape it with your nail to get the edge of the cover, the protective part off. There we go. Okay. Pop that down. 2 and 3, and you are certainly welcome to leave them as flaps if that's how you prefer it. This is just such a great way to use up paper that you don't want to throw out. I mean, my gosh, you know, you paid for this, but so that's secured. So we got to be really careful to get this set to the edge. I'm going to bring this right over and secure that. Oh, that's perfect. That looks great. So now for these edges, we start with the innermost box, right? The innermost panel here on the box. Oh, come back. So this is the side you're not going to see. Put that down first. This one has 2 pieces, so that will be my last one. So I'll do this one next, directly across. Just kind of guide it a little bit to make sure you don't have anything hanging loose. And then you can always push it down in from the inside. Secure that. Then I'll do this panel. It's got the 1 piece. Oops. There we go. Nice and tight. Bring that across the box. And then this is the one with the 2 pieces of tape. I just think it's going to make it hold a little bit more secure. Go, 1. And then we're almost done. Can you believe how fast this is? 2. And now you've got your box with your little edges. How super cute is this box then? Let's get the lid in there. Oh my gosh, super cute. So I hope you liked today's project. Thanks for joining me. Feel free to leave a comment. Again, the dimensions you're looking for: 1/4 or 1/2 inch, 2 7/8 for each of the other panels. And here's your box. Super cute. Look forward to seeing you soon, folks. Bye. Have an awesome day.